guys, this is Christy Fulk with Create with Christy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US. Well, today I have a sneak peek for you from a suite in the July to December mini catalog, and I'll just call it the holiday catalog from here on out. A lot easier to say. But it features Nature's Harvest Bundle, Harvest Meadow DSP, Brush Metallic Adhesive Back Dots, Cork Specialty Paper. There's also some ribbon, and it's called Diamond Weave Ribbon. It's hard to believe, but I actually used everything in a suite on this card. Did not intend to, but I was kind of excited when I got done with it, and I realized that's what I did. So I hope you enjoyed this card, and it is a fun fold card, and there was no name for it, but I'm just going to call it the mini card fun fold. The base here is the same size as a regular card, but the actual card is this little mini card here in the middle. So if you'd like to stamp along with me, you can pause the video, look down in the video description and click on the blog post link, and that'll give you, the blog post has all the dimensions and the supply list. Now, if you're watching this video before August 2nd, the supply list won't be complete because I can't add the things that are sneak peek items, but I'll get those added on August 3rd as soon as the catalog starts. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first off, I want to show you the bundle. This is the Nature's Harvest bundle. Such a neat bundle. And no, these are not all the dies you get. You get 3 more. Isn't that neat? There are 8 total dies. And I love the images. I love cornflowers, and that's what this reminds me of. It could definitely be daisies too. But such a pretty set, and I can't wait to be using some of these dies here. Now, the only dies I will be using, though, is this one here to die cut the image. And I'm also going to use this little one for my thank you. Those are all the dies that we'll need. But I am also using the, let's see, what are these called? The Scallop Contours dies. And these are in the annual catalog. Love these dies. So you can get these now if you don't have them already. But you want to use the second largest one and the one right underneath it. So those are all the dies that we'll need for the card. And with the stamp set, you're going to want to get the stamp set for the big flowers, the small flowers, and the thank you. Okay, first off, let's get some stamping done. You need a piece of basic white. This is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And this is a cling stamp set, which means it's rubber, but I still like to use my Stampin' Pierce mat because I think it gives a lot more support and I get a better stamped image. So I'm going to take the big flower stamp and my early espresso ink pad and get that inked up. And a lot of times we'll use our Tuxedo Black Memento when we use Stampin' Blends because that's what I'm going to color this in with. But since our classic ink pads are also water-based, you can use these also. There we go, because I didn't want that black. I want it to be brown because it kind of goes along with the rest of the card a little better. And I think it's a little easier to color in without the Pierce mat, so I'll kind of put this over to the side. And when I looked in my catalog, if you don't have that yet, you'll see it once you get it. But there was a stamped image of the flower that I loved how they did it, and I was able to look at the supply list that they give us on our demo site. And if you get a catalog from me, I'll send that to you right away. There are a few people that I sent catalogs to. I'll get that out to you, email that supply list out to you. But they used Calypso Coral, Soft Suede, Daffodil Delight, and Mossy Meadow. Now, I'm only going to use the dark Calypso Coral, so I'll go ahead and get the light one out of the way. And what I'm going to do, I always use the brush tip. You can use whichever tip you want. But I'm going to put the Calypso Coral near the top part, or actually the base of the petals. So get that in and kind of make it a jagged. I don't want all the the color to meet straight because we're working with flowers here and it's not going to be straight for sure. Just put a little bit here at the base of the petals. And I'm going to do it down here at the bottom part of this flower because this is just a partial flower. So that's with the dark Calypso Coral. Put a little bit, there we go. Then I'm going to grab the dark Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to put that down. I'm going to leave the tips white because I'm going to use the light Daffodil Delight for that part. And I'm going over the Calypso Coral too because I don't want it to be a bright orange because see, that's just a little too much of a different color. So just keep going over the Calypso Coral with the dark Daffodil Delight. And it'll start blending very nicely. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm kind of pulling the Calypso Coral and going out. It's kind of like pulling up the Calypso Coral into the Daffodil Delight. So I start at the Calypso Coral layer and come out. And just keep doing that until it looks good to me, until I get the shading that I like. So I'm going to wait a minute. I'm going to go up here, blend it a little bit more. Sometimes it works better if you let it dry for a few seconds. Alcohol, it'll dry very fast. And when you do it again, you're going to see it blend even more. So don't just keep blending. Take a little break, let it dry, and then blend again. And I did go out of my lines a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about it because we're going to be die cutting that. And it doesn't show up very much. Then I'm going to get the light Daffodil Delight and finish. And I'm going to go over the whole thing with the light Daffodil Delight. And we just have some nice shading. So you've actually got 3 shadings, colors with this flower. And it just makes it look a lot more real. And it's so easy to do. So I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm almost done. Keep pulling in, going over that Calypso every time and the dark Daffodil Light to blend it in. I have so much fun with our blends. I like being able to get all that shading. You can do that with our watercolor pencils and our ink pads and blender pens too, but there we go. I just really like how our blends work with this. So let me bring this up closer. Hopefully you can see the different shading. That looks so pretty once you get it all shaded. Okay, now these little centers here I'm going to do with our soft suede. So I've got the dark soft suede first. Make jagged lines here at the base, at the centers, doing with the dark soft suede. Then I'll take my light soft suede and blend just like I did with the flower petals, kind of pulling up the dark, starting in the dark and going up. And that helps it blend. There we go. That looks pretty good. I might blend that just a little bit more. There we go. So now we've got that colored in. Isn't that neat? So the last thing we need to do are the leaves and the stems. So I've got my Mossy Meadow. I'm going to once again start with the dark. And wherever I think there should be shading, that's where I'm going to do the dark. So there's definitely going to be some shading under the flowers. I'm trying to make them jagged so it's not a straight line at the bottom. It's a little harder to do when it's a thin stem. So don't worry if it does look all straight. It won't once you get done with it. Now, this leaf is kind of coming over this stem, so that should be a little darker right there. And I'm going to make this just a little bit darker where the leaf folds. And it looks like this leaf is actually behind this flower. So right where they intersect, just put a little bit of dark on that leaf. Okay. And these, a lot of times the bases of leaves are a little bit darker. So I'm going to do that with both of these leaves. Make them just a little bit darker. They're doing a little jagged like I did before. Now we're going to take the light Mossy Meadow and color everything else in like we did before. Start with the dark, going over the dark and get it blended. And then color everything else with the light Mossy Meadow. Okay, that looks pretty good. That's a little too dark here, so let's blend that a little bit more. So you just look over it, look it over. And if you want to blend some more, just add a little more of the light and it'll blend. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I did get out of the line. I could grab my color lifter. I didn't bring it over here and take that off. But we're going to die cut and you really can't tell. Even though it's going to show some, it's still going to look fine. So there's the leaf. Isn't that pretty with all that shading? This stamp makes you look like an artist. Okay, now I'm going to grab another piece of basic white. This is, you can just use a scrap, but this happens to be a 2 1/4 by 1 1/4. I'm going to grab the thank you stamp and my Misty Moonlight ink pad. I love this blue. It is so pretty. We've got at least one more year out of it. I didn't bring my Stampin' Pierce mat in, but that's okay. So there's the thank you. I'll put that over to the side because that's going to be die cut. And I think that's all the stamping we're going to do right now. So let's go ahead and get our die cutting machine out. Okay, now let's get some die cutting done. This is the base plate. Then we're going to need the die plate and a standard cutting plate. I kind of move this out a little bit. We're going to grab our image and the die we need to die cut that. Make sure you get everything. Actually, we can probably do a couple things here. Let's put this one in place first. Make sure that image doesn't show any white inside the hole of the die. Okay, then we'll grab this little tag and our thank you. And just kind of get that centered and straight. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to grab another standard cutting plate. I'm going to start with this end, bring it down, And then slowly bring it down so I don't move my dies. Keep those squeezed together till both the dies are underneath this center section like they are now. Then I can hold on to the machine. Knock some things over here. And then here is the image. Look at how everything it cuts out. Isn't that neat? Couldn't fussy cut it that good. So there's the image. And then we've got our thank you. Punch it, die cuts perfectly. Now we've got a couple other things we need to die cut here. Let me bring this back over. Let's grab a piece of crumb cake. This is a 3.5 by 4 3/4. Grab my standard cutting plate again. And we're going to grab the largest of the scallop rectangles from the Scallop Contours dies. And I'm going to put that in. It actually is easier when you're doing a big rectangle piece like this to have one of the corners go in first. It's better for the die and it doesn't crunch so much, and it actually die cuts better sometimes too. Sometimes when you put it in straight, one of the straight ends may not die cut very well. If you do it that way, it works great every time. So now we've got this one ready to go. Now we need the smaller one. Grab a piece of our basic white. This is going to be the inside of our card. So this is a 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Bring this all back over. Put this down. We're going to do the same thing with this one. Kind of have the corner end go first. Standard cutting plate. Oops. Moved on me. It doesn't have to be in the center just as long as you have the die in the cardstock. It came off completely there for a second. Okay, so now we've got this for the inside. And we're going to do another one of these. But this time with the the Misty Moonlight. So put this down. This is the same size as the white one, a 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Have it go in with a corner first. Put this on top. And get it die cut. And this is the last thing we need to die cut, but we are going to emboss something. And this is going to be the embossing folder that's in the suite. So we've got all our die cutting done. Now we're going to grab this big rectangle that we just did in the crumb cake. Now to do a 3D folder, because that's what this folder is, all you need is the base plate. So I took the die plate off. Make sure that die plate is off. Then I'm going to grab this really neat embossing folder. This is time-worn type, so it's all worn out. It's got some detail, like some distressing to it, but then it's got lettering in it too. So I just think that is so cool. I didn't realize that there was lettering in it when I got it, and I was super excited. So I'm going to put this in like so. Have it straight. I'm kind of lining the bottom up with that line in the embossing folder. Lay this down, fold first. And then you take this specialty plate that comes with the machine in there. And that's all you need for the 3D folders because they're a little thicker, so you don't need any standard cutting plates with it. We'll pull this out. And look at that. Isn't that cool? Let me get it back in the screen. So we've got a few little letters here and a lot of distressing looking. So it looks time-worn, just like it's called. So, okay, we're done with the die cutting machine, and let's finish this card. Okay, let's go ahead and get the stamping done really quick. Grab that white scallop rectangle that we made. And we're going to grab the not the thank you. We want the smaller flower stamp with the Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to stamp it here in the corner. Kind of have it at an angle. So that's going to be the inside of the card. You just have a little greeting up here and write your name in it. We'll put this over to the side. That way we've got all the stamping done. Now we'll just put this card together. This is going to be the base piece, the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it's a quarter piece of the cardstock. This is a piece of the beautiful Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. And when I do I'm going to do a few videos once the new catalog comes out, starting August 3rd. I'm not sure how long I'll do it. It won't be all in one day. I'll spread it out. But I'll feature a bunch of things in this catalog, and I'll show off all the designs in this paper then. But this one is a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece. And here's the other side of this one. But I really like the blue one. I like this one too, but that wasn't the look I was going for. I'm going to take my stamp and seal. Make sure I get some seal in the corners. And then along the long side. I think I'm even going to put a little bit right here. That's all you need. I want to make sure that once I get this on, that I have this facing so the flowers are going the right direction. If I put it on upside down, no big deal, you just turn it around. But make sure it's in the right spot now. Because now we're going to grab a piece of crumb cake. This is 3 by 8.5. Now we could just fold this in half, or we can score it. But I'm going to go ahead and just fold it in half. Get those corners lined up. Get my bone folder. So if you wanted to do this with your scoring tool, you would line it up with the 4 1/4 inch mark and then score it. Okay, so that's the base of our card. Then we're going to take this piece here. Actually, I'm going to put adhesive, since I want this is my whole card front. I'm just going to put all the way across these short sections, and then some here on this end here. I'm going to turn this over. So make sure that the side that you want to be facing the front is face down. And this way, I can put this in here and center it. There we go. That looks pretty good. It's a lot easier because the scallop is just a little bit bigger than the card. So that's ready to go. We'll go ahead and put this on the card base. So that's how simple it is. Now this one, because this is the actual card and it's sticking on here, I don't want it to fall off. So I'm actually going to put it all the way around the perimeter, and that's going to be plenty of adhesive. That'll hold it on nice. And then you're just going to center this on here, like so. Okay. Now let's grab our Misty Moonlight scallop. And then I'm going to use something else in the suite. This is the Cork Specialty Paper. Love this. When you look at it, you're thinking, oh, that's probably real thick. It's paper thickness. Love it. I was afraid it was going to be real bulky and hard to work with, but it is super easy, and it's got the texture of cork. It is so cool. I love this paper. And I love this suite so much. This is going to be my first class in September. I've actually, it might be, no, I think it starts in the end of August. If you go to my online class page, which there's the link below in the video description, if you click on that and scroll down to the bottom, but at the top, it'll explain my online classes, then show the current class. Then at the bottom, it has a list of all the upcoming classes, so you can figure out not to buy this, wait for the class kind of thing. And it'll give the dates for this class. But when I made this card, it made up my mind, okay, this is what we're going to do in September. So here's that. Love that cork. Now this is going to be put on the center of this card base. So we'll just put some seal on here and put that right in the center. That's what I love about the Scallop Contours dies. It is so neat how these nest together. So pretty. Okay, now I thought, oh, I love this ribbon. I've got to use this ribbon. This is the Diamond Weave ribbon. Isn't that pretty? This really feels like it's crocheted. I love it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, if you look closely, you can see the little diamond areas here in the middle. I'm just going to put this across. This is a 3-inch piece. I'm going to put a glue dot behind probably the second one. I'm going to leave the last one without any glue. Just put one there. So the second to last one, and do the same thing over here. So there's my second to last one. I'm going to put a glue dot right behind it. That way you don't have to worry about there being any sticky glue dots sticking out of the openings in this. And I'm going to put this right across here. It's about the same width as the scallop. Then once it's on, I can take this and kind of fray it a little bit. I kind of like that look. It kind of does it on its own, but this kind of helps you play with how the ends go. And I thought it just looked a lot neater fraying it a little bit. So I'm just kind of pulling it apart. Now we've got both ends frayed. Really like that. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this set. It's so much fun. Okay. See how many times I can say fun in one video. I was so excited when I made this card yesterday. Okay, I wanted to put this on with dimensionals. So I'm going to grab, you can use the black dimensionals if you want to actually use that on my first one. I'm going to use the white ones here. I'm going to use the regular Stampin' Dimensionals on the flowers. Put one here. This one's a little narrow. So I think the rest of them I'm going to use the mini dimensional. So if you just want to use mini, I would put probably a couple on the bigger flowers. And then I'm going to put one about in the center spot here. And let's put one close to each leaf. Here, this one can be at the base. And that's actually pretty good. I don't think I'm going to worry about that bottom one. I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool to get all of that paper backing off. Actually, I think it's a little easier to get rid of the big ones first and then start working with the little ones, because it's a little hard to see the little ones once you've got the big ones on there. Okay. I think I got them all off. Oh, that one didn't come off. Thought that one looked like it was still paper. The black ones you can tell right off because you'll see the black, but with the white ones, the same color as the paper backing. Okay, we're going to put this on. I'm going to kind of put it at an angle, and I want it hanging off the edge just a little bit. It doesn't have to do a lot. You could have it hang off even more. It's whichever you want to do. But I really liked having that popped up. So there, that's on there. We'll grab our thank you. See if I can find it here. Now this one I didn't want to be popped up. I thought the flowers were popped up and that was enough having the dimension. And that way I can kind of stick that underneath the flower just a little bit. Get that thank you on there straight. There we go. Now I could have stopped there, but I thought, boy, it needs a little something. And that's when I thought about the brushed metallic adhesive back dots. Long name, but I love these. We've got gold, copper, and bronze. Hopefully you can tell the difference in the video. But I decided to use the gold. I went back and forth. But actually, all of them would have looked perfect. But I thought the gold it would looked a little better. So I'm going to grab, oops, help if I took this off. I'm going to grab a big one. And let's say we'll put it about right here. And a small one, I'm going to put a little close. Put it right there. And I'm going to do another little one, because I thought it needs something about right there. So we are done with the outside of the card. Isn't that pretty? I'm in love with this suite. I love fall colors anyway. So that flower is what drew me to this. I love that flower. So let's go ahead and get our inside on quick. I could have just put a white triangle, but I wanted to go with the same theme as the scallops. So we'll open this up, and you're going to get that in the center. Now this won't open. I'll show you here in a minute. Let me get this. This scallop here kind of prevents it from opening all the way flat, but that's no big deal. You just hold it, and there's the inside, and you write it down. Write your greeting down. So that is it. I love doing a fun fold card every once in a while to make it extra special, and this one is so easy. There's really nothing to it. You're just having a card base, flat card base, quarter sheet, and then a mini card that you make for the top of it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did and you want to stamp with me again, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. Just click on the subscribe button below, and then click on that little bell icon that shows up and select all. That way YouTube will notify you every time I do a video and you won't miss anything. Now, I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and if you do not have a demonstrator of your own, I would love to be yours. And here are the catalogs that are available right now. We've got the annual catalog that is going on now. This one just started at the beginning of May. And then these are the two that are starting here in a little over a week, August 3rd. We've got Celebration. Normally we only do that in the winter, but we're doing one in the summer now too. So this one runs August 3rd to September 30th. And Celebration is when you can get some free stuff. For $50 orders, before shipping and tax, you can pick out a free item. And then there are a couple that you have to do a $100 order to pick it out for free. And then there's also the mini catalog, and that's where the Harvest Meadow Suite came from, is from this mini catalog. So if you live in the United States and don't have a demonstrator of your own, just click that contact me link below and I'll get these mailed out to you right away. So we'll look at this card one more time. Again, I thank you so much for watching my video and supporting my channel. And if you give me a thumbs up or comment below, that also helps my channel out. So I really do appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day, guys. Bye.